I request all the participants, dear students, please join immediately so that we can start our lecture without wasting any time. My screen is visible to everyone, na? Whether the screen is visible to everyone, you can put it in the chat box or you can comment on it. Please join immediately. Tell your other friends. Just 17 has joined. You see the picture whether it is clear to everyone. Whatever screen I have shared is visible to everyone. Join fast. Just 21 still. Please tell your other friends to join immediately. Okay, chalo. 30 participants are there. So without wasting our much time, we are directly starting our lecture. If my voice is not audible to you or if screen is not visible to you, you can put it in the chat box. Uh, so we will begin with the yesterday's part which we have left. Uh, just a small recap of yesterday's part which we have discussed. Uh, Yesterday we have started with the list of registers to be maintained while working on the site. Now, in that particular list, we have gone through the concrete cube test results, then RCC, what activities or what items that we need to address while putting it into the our register. Then schedule of reinforcement we have discussed. Then concrete pour cards. I think yesterday we have completed up to this particular part. Also, rates of the abnormally means whatever the changes in the rate, that is high rate or low rate, which is quoted by the supplier. That again we have discussed in the yesterday's lecture. Now today, once again, we will revise the concrete pour cards and the check slips. As I said earlier, the most important part while working on the site is nothing but the check slips. Okay, actually, why the check slips are there? Why it is required? The check slips are useful to have a proper planning whenever you are working on the site. These check slips will help you to a small, very small extent kind of work is there. But and by default, if you are going to forget or if you are going to commit any mistake in that, these check slips will help you to remind you, yes, you have to do this. You have to do this particular work. This is remained. What particular things that you need to address while working on the site. Okay. So in all general, in the check slip, our first is basic thing is nothing but the center line. Always, uh, for being a fresher engineer or who is the whomsoever the engineer in charge, it is the most important for part for him to whatever the plan what that person is having, that engineer is having, he has to apply and he has to drop that same plan in the field also. Okay, so just take an example. I'm having a good plan of 1 BHK, one room kitchen, chicken, or 1 BHK plan I'm having. But how I'm going to implement it while working on the site actually? See, plan is I'm having, I know what are the details of that particular plan. I know the schedule of reinforcement. I know what kind of material that I have to use. I know what kind of machineries I have to use. But it is very important for you to drop that particular plan or to convert that plan in the field. And that is what the first difficulty, as I said earlier, hindrances. Okay, that already we have discussed yesterday also. That is the first difficulty you are going to face to convert the drawing paper plan on site, that is on actual field. From which point you are going to begin your particular work. So for that particular work, always remember we are going to set the benchmark where you are going to take the RLs of all different levels. Okay, but at the same time, you are going to mark the lines. We called it as a center line, or we called it as that is our first step. That is excavation lines. Okay, so one can, if you are going to see how they are going to implement the plan actually converting into the field, they are going to make the small boxes where they are going to start the concrete or column work. Okay. At first, they are going to make a square or whatever the region of that particular area, layout of that particular area. They are going to mark a border or the boundary with a white pakki, we called it as a. So with that particular white powder, they are going to mark all the borders. After marking all the borders, they have whatever the plan which we have, they are directly implementing that plan on that particular field. How they are implementing? By marking the positions of the column by taking the measurements. Whatever the drawings that we are having, that laborers will take the measurement. Yes, sir. This is your starting point of your plot. So, and that will be the end point of your plot. So suppose it's a distance of 20 meter. Okay. Begin with the 0 meter and ending with the 20 meter. So 20-meter length I am having for my particular plan. So from 0 meter up to what distance? That is, suppose I am going to keep 5 meter distance or 3 meter distance as my plot is NA plot, so I can construct 100% or whatever the built up area I'm having. Okay, whatever the total plot area I'm having, I can't construct 100%. That is the rule which has been suggested in our development control regulations, DCR rule by Maharashtra. Always remember, for a plot which is NA, that is non-agricultural, we don't have the authority to construct 100% whatever the plot area we are having. The front margin you have to keep is around 3 to 5 meters. That will depend on your particular area, but at least 3 to 5 meter distance you need to keep. That will totally dependent on the area that you have. Okay, side margin minimum 1 meter distance you have to keep on both sides. Okay, and back margin, that is rear end margin, minimum 1 to 2 meter distance you have to keep. And that space, it has been utilized for the parking and the free passage, free travel of the whatever the client who is going to live over there. Okay, that is totally reserved for that particular purpose. So uh, please be remember such particular things whenever you are going to construct. If it's a NA plot, you must see, so this is my plot area, this is suppose 1,000 square feet. So what is actual built up area? What is actual built up area? That is nothing but the FSI which you are going to deal with, that is floor space index, or we called it as a floor area ratio. So it may be 1, 1.5, it may be 2, it may be zero point 0.8. Now in the Gauthan region, now as per the recent amendments, for the Gauthan region we are having the FSI of around 1.5. Okay, now in the most of the Gauthan regions, that means our village areas, that is rural areas, most of the plots are not non agricultural plots. Okay, these are totally agricultural plots. So for such agricultural plots, the farmer or whatever the client or the customer, he has the freedom to construct the whole area. 1,000 out of 1,000 square feet area he can build, he can construct, because it's agricultural land. And if the owner is having his own land, then he has the freedom, he can build it any fashion. Okay, but still our rule says you need to keep the spacing that is totally reserved for the parking and free travel for that particular client. Okay, so always remember such things. uh, if you are having a 1,000 square feet plot, at least you can build 80 to 85%. Don't go beyond that. Okay, otherwise there will be no space to park your vehicle. You have to park your vehicle in the whatever the adjacent plots you are having. Okay, so that is the rule that you need to check. So central line I'm discussing, you just you have to draw some boxes, that is nothing but the column positions. And then you are going to start to for the your excavation work, you are marking your points on that particular excavate, whatever the work you have excavated, and then you can begin your work. So some checklists, though these are not related with our particular whole subject, but in your design of concrete structure also you are going to go on through this checklists. Okay, what checklist you need to identify? You need to identify for the earthwork, you need to identify the size and dimensions of the excavation, then dewatering arrangement, as I said earlier, very important one. Nowadays rainy season is going on, so there is lot of water which is going to be saturated in the excavated area. So you need to dewater that particular area completely. It should not be like that water is been saturated for 3 or 4 days and that the soil nature will get changed. Definitely the water level or ground water level in that particular soil will get increased, and that will hamper your construction. Okay, you need a hard rock solid strata over which your foundation can lay, or over which your foundation can rest. Okay, so please be aware for such particular things. Dewatering arrangements, I hope everyone has seen that particular dewatering. It's nothing special arrangement. They will take a motor of one or more than one 2 HP power, and they will just drop out all the water out of that particular excavated area. Okay, then anti-termite treatment, that is for the wooden cushion basic works, or then depth of sand cushion below PCC, Not necessary everywhere. You have to provide it. It will depend on the site condition, because if you are having a rock solid strata, खडकाळ जमीन आहे, खूप चांगला solid आहे, ठीक आहे, then there is no need to go for the sand cushion also. ठीक आहे. Sand cushion where we require, where we are having very cohesive soil, basically in short term I can say, where soil is little bit having some flexibility, like black water soil. हातामध्ये घेतल्यानंतर you got the smooth feeling, you got a feeling that it can have, after pouring the water, it can swell, it can contain the water, and if there is any kind of load which I am going to apply, definitely it will going to be settled down. Okay. So for cohesive soils, basically we require that sand cushion. Then side shattering always of the most important, because if you are having a good side shattering for the earthwork, you can protect your excavated portion. Please remember, there are so many incidences which are happened before this. I can share my own experience when I am working on in Nashik. Uh, there is heavy rainfall which is going to be occurred, and we have just started the footing work. Okay, a freshly laid concrete is there in that particular footing work. But what we observe, there is maybe we are lagging in that side shattering portion, and that soil is started to be sliding, that is landsliding is going started. Okay, the depth of that excavation is more than around 10 meters. Okay, and the soil is started to slide or started to deposit from that particular area. So in the 12 o'clock in the night, 11 to 12 o'clock in the night, our laborers has called me, my seniors, or everyone that no sir, landsliding has started, and that will totally hamper our footing, whatever the footing, freshly laid footing we have done. Okay, so on that day we have to go there. Then we have a proper side shuttering arrangement. We once again revised it, proper side shuttering, so that we have protected our site. Otherwise, that will be come to your penalty. That is your fault if you don't protect a proper side shuttering arrangement. Okay, for your excavated portion. For excavated portion, always be on the toe, because it is on the safer, from the safety point of view, it is most important. Okay, because some labors are there, and if landsliding is going to occur, they may lose their life. So it may happen anything, and for that case you need to have a proper knowledge about whatever the soil which is being present over there. Suppose you are going below 10 meter below. Okay, is it possible that below the whatever the 10-meter layer we are having of the soil, it is throughout same everywhere I am having the black cotton soil? No, there may be at one portion where at the top I am having the black cotton soil, at the middle portion I am having different kind of soil, at the bottom I am having a rock, murum sand or murum nature of soil. Okay, so it may happen, we don't know what is there in our earth crust. Okay, actually when you start to excavate that particular soil, at that point only you got that particular nature, and based on that you have to take the some test, that is standard penetration test is there, then tests which are related with the soil, physical and mechanical properties of the soil, swelling test, plasticity index, liquid limit, OMC, MDD, percentage compaction, shear, wind shear strength of soil, confined, unconfined, whatever it may be. Okay, so it is the most important part. Though it seems to be a simple word, side shuttering, but when shuttering is there, you need to protect your site, and you need to apply the shuttering in a proper way, in a concise way. There should not be any gaps in your shuttering. Okay, otherwise, what happen if there is any gap which has been there in your shuttering? I saw some pictures. You are having a good concrete. You made a very nice concrete, very fresh, workable concrete. But still, if there is any gap between your shuttering, what happens? The water which is present in that particular concrete, that water starts to percolate through that particular gap. It is not possible for the coarse aggregate to pass through that gap. Only water is that particular is only water is our atom which can percolate through that particular through the gap. So though you made a very nice workable concrete, but still that concrete will get hampered. Okay, so please be attentive in such cases. Whenever there is shuttering work is going on, you have to observe how the laborers are doing the shuttering work. there should not be chance of a single percent as there is a gap. Okay, and if there is a gap, definitely your concrete will get hampered. That water will get percolate from that concrete, and the rest part, you know what is to be remained. Okay, so while shuttering, such cares need to be taken. Okay, and the shuttering also, you need to take the checks also. In the my previous lecture, I saw you one diagram where how to take the check of that particular shuttering or column level we have discussed. Then reinforcement, in case of the reinforcement, just a minute. In the reinforcement, uh, curtailment of reinforcement, then bar bending schedule. Yesterday we have discussed this part, I think. Cover and connections at the column beam junctions, very important one. One more thing at the I just want to discuss with you for this column and beam junction. Now, most of the fresher engineers, what bad habit they are having? Sir, it's a beam and column junction. So I'm going to put a heavy steel. Okay, I'm going to put a heavy steel. In the steel design, if you are going to see, heavy steel is there. Heavy means more quantity of steel is there whenever there is junction point, junction of column beam or slab, whatever it may be. Okay, but our recent techniques or now whatever the work is going on, we need to reduce the load for that particular column and beam junction by reducing the quantity of steel. आता तुम्ही म्हणताल सर स्टीलची क्वांटिटी कमी कसं करायचं तिथे जंक्शन आहे. No, there are some provisions. We can design such column and beam junction where we require the minimum quantity of steel or reinforcement. Okay, and also you need to change your mentality. No sir, it's a column and beam junction, heavily concrete I'm going to put. If you're going to put the heavy concrete over there na, what problem is there? You are not able to pour the concrete because everything is grabbed or everything is occupied by the steel reinforcement, and there is no space for the concrete to go down and to settle it down in a proper way. Okay, and that is the problem now most of the structures are going to face. So change that particular mentality, design it in such a way that you require minimum or least quantity of the reinforcement at that particular junctions. Okay. Otherwise, sir, it's a junction so tight. Use the heavy steel. The मला तिथे 4 बार टाकायचे होते, मी तिथे 6 बार टाकले. ठीक आहे, मेन स्टीलला 6 टाकले, डिस्ट्रीब्युशनला 8 बार टाकले किंवा कॉलम जंक्शन इतका पॅक केला की तिथे कॉन्क्रीटला जाण्यासाठी जागाच नाहीये. तर कॉन्क्रीट असे स्ट्रक्चर मी बघितलेले आहेत. तुम्ही भविष्यामध्ये बघताल की तिथे कॉन्क्रीटला जाण्यासाठी जागाच राहत नाही. ठीक आहे, ते कॉन्क्रीट मग वर्केबल कसं राहणार आहे? हाऊ इट इज गोइंग टू सेट डाऊन? No, there is no any way to set it down. Okay, and then at the that particular junction point you are going to see failure which is going to occur. Okay, and also there is buckling. Whatever you have studied in the SOM, that load, 4 conditions of the loading. One is what are the free end or 2 free ends, whatever it having. So there is problem of the failure for that particular junctions if you are going to use it very heavy steel. What word I'm using, please remember it, very heavy steel. Okay, then cement concrete, grade of concrete is important one. uh, Now the grade of concrete will remain same throughout the structure, and it will not remain same throughout the structure. Both cases are there. Okay, generally 99% we are going to use two different grades of the concrete when you working on the site. I'm just giving you a general example. If you go for the footing, you can now previously in older times, in the 90s or 80s I can say, we are dealing with M5, M10, M15 grade of concrete. Okay, there is no such what we called awareness about the or inventions about the higher strength, high strength concrete grades. Okay, so at that time they are using M15 grade concrete for the footing work also or for the foundation also. Okay, nowadays also in some of the cases, very rare cases, you observe that they are using M15 grade of concrete for the foundation. Very rare. Huh? But nowadays we are having the practice to use M20, M25 grade generally for our construction purpose. Generally for foundation and footing, we go for M25, and for the substructure, superstructure part, one can go for the M20. It will again depend what that consultant will suggest you. Okay. Once again, I'm going to tell you, our site conditions are most important one. Then, along with the site condition, what kind of load which is coming on that particular structure, whether it's whatever the dead load, live load, wind load, what you are gone through in your DOS syllabus, or now you are studying in your DCS also, live load 3 kilonewton per meter cube, or anything it may be. So we need to consider the load which is coming on it. Okay. So based on that, your consultant or your designer will give you, yes sir, you go for M20 grade of concrete or you go for M25 grade of concrete, not more than that. I haven't heard for a residential building one has used M30, M35 grade of concrete. Huh? But for commercial buildings, there is no option. M25, M20, M30, M35, M40 also we can go for. Okay, because it's a heavy mass structure and we require high strength concrete. And for that case, we require M40, M35 like grades of the concrete. Now, in that concrete, if you are using some admixtures, then we must focus on the what kind of concentration or the proportion we are going to use it for that particular for making that concrete. Okay, the proportion will be accurate, the concentration will be accurate. There should not be any viability in this particular concentrations. Okay, if you are used a high percentage of the admixtures, that will hamper the concrete. Ultimately, that will hamper the durability of that particular structure. Your concrete or your structure may fail before your design period. Okay, so to avoid such things, try to grab the habit of putting the accurate concentration or the proportion of the your construction jobs. Okay, I think one somebody has put. Okay. Once again, I'm repeating. If my voice is not audible or if you find some difficulty, please tell me well in advance. If my voice is not audible or my screen is not visible to you. Okay. So in the yes, we are discussing the chemicals. I think we have discussed vibrators. Once again, I'm repeating vibrators. Basically, you go for the needle vibrator for the beam or the heavy foundation structures. And for the slab, generally we use surface vibrators, or nowadays we call it as screed vibrators. Okay, just for the slab purpose. Okay, because slab concrete is somewhat dense as compared with the concrete, as compared with the column concrete. ठीक आहे. आता हे कसं असं तुम्ही म्हणताल सर, तर साईट वरती गेल्यानंतर तुमच्या लक्षात येईल, कॉलम साठी जे कॉन्क्रीट तयार केलेलं असतं आणि स्लॅब साठी जे कॉन्क्रीट लेबर तयार करतात, फॉरगेट आवर मिक्स डिझाईन, टेक्निकल पार्ट. ठीक आहे. तर तुम्हाला स्लॅबचं कॉन्क्रीट बघायला भेटेल, तिथे इंजिनियर काम करतात, पण स्लॅबचं कॉन्क्रीट इट इज समवॉट डेन्स. ठीक आहे, समवॉट डेन्स. And column concrete, as compared with the slab concrete, it is not that much dense. Okay, that difference you are going to observe when you meet any particular site. Okay. uh, then number of cement concrete cubes that you are going to test, I think I have revised this. Total 9, at least 9 cubes you have to cast for your slab, beam or columns. Why 9 cubes? Because 3 cubes you are going to test it for the 3 days. Then uh, 3 cubes for at the 7 days, and remaining 3 cubes at the end of 28 days. At the end of 28 days, we will get the 100% strength. Definitely, we should get the 100% strength. Okay. Then slump test results. Now, this is the basic result and it is applicable to all over the world. I'm going to use the word. या भारतामध्ये या जगामध्ये तुम्ही कुठेही जा, कुठल्याही साईट वरती जा, तुम्हाला स्लम कोन टेस्ट बघायला भेटेलच. ठीक आहे. आणि स्लम कोन टेस्ट बद्दलचं नॉलेज परफेक्ट असलं पाहिजे. ओके. स्लम कोन टेस्ट, हाऊ वी आर गोइंग टू टेक इट. Okay. What kind of failure which is going to occur, whether it's a true slump, whether it's a shear, or whether it's a failure. Okay, so what kind of failure which is going to occur in case of our slump code test, based on that you can suggest the workability of that particular concrete. You know the basic process of the slump code test. It's a cone of height 30 centimeter, top diameter is 10 and bottom diameter is 20 centimeter. Then you are going to pour your concrete in that particular cone, and then you are going to lift that particular cone. So just you are going to measure what kind of failure which has been going to occur. So total height we know it's 30 centimeter minus whatever the failure which is going to occur. Based on it, you can suggest the workability of the concrete, whether it's highly workable, whether it's low workable, whether it's good workable concrete we are having. Okay. Somebody has quoted in public projects, design work of steel can be done by specified person, design of concrete grade properties done by other one, then structural strength and stability by other one. If in some cases these specified people are not available and we are only civil engineer not trained in a particular field, then should we handle all design of steel concrete structural strength by studying, getting knowledge, understanding the things? Okay, good question, Amir. You have, sorry, Kapil, you have asked. See, in any project I'm telling about, in any project, our steel design is given by another person. Our RCC consultant is a different one. He's a third party client engineer. Then client engineer is a different one. We are from the company, that is we are representing our company. And concrete mix design, basically concrete mix design we are getting from our office only. Okay, there is no need to go for concrete mix design for any other work, for any other person, to approach any other person. Okay. Huh. Our steel design we are getting from the steel structural designers. These are the specialized one. Okay. Our concrete we can mix, prepare our concrete in our office only. Okay. Now whenever you are working on the site, it is not like that they have just provided you the steel design and they will left that particular work permanently. Now if you have taken, suppose I will give you one example. Now I am the steel engineer. Okay, I am the steel designer. Hmm? I have given you the steel design for your particular plot or project. Huh? Now I have given you the steel design that is been approved by the TP sanction, that is town planning authority. Okay, that is been checked by the town planning authority, that is correct. Okay, so I have given you the steel design. Now my role is going to conclude at this particular point only. माझा रोल हा इथंच संपतोय. ठीक आहे. रोल कोणाचा चालू होतोय आता बघा. स्टील डिझाईन तुम्हाला कोणी दिलंय? चेतन लिमकर या व्यक्तीने तुम्हाला स्टील डिझाईन दिलेलं आहे. काम कोण करणार आहे? काम सपोज कपिल तुम्ही साईट वरती स्वतः काम करताय, तुम्ही प्लॅन कोणाचा इम्प्लिमेंट करताय? स्टील डिझाईन कोणाचं इम्प्लिमेंट करताय? जे चेतन लिमकर या व्यक्तीने तुम्हाला दिलेलं आहे. ठीक आहे. मग जे चेतन लिमकर या व्यक्तीने तुम्हाला स्टील डिझाईन दिलेलं आहे, ते स्टील डिझाईन तुम्ही तुमच्या साईट वरती इम्प्लिमेंट करताय, पण ते तुम्ही इम्प्लिमेंट प्रॉपरली करताय का आणि ते प्रॉपरली होतंय का, चेक होतंय का, ऍज पर जे डिझाईन आहे त्यानुसार ते तुम्ही, ऍज पर जे डिझाईन आहे त्यानुसार तुम्ही एक्झिक्यूट करताय का, हे चेक करण्यासाठी तुमच्याकडे आरसीसी कन्सल्टंट नावाचा एक व्यक्ती असतो की जो क्लायंट इंजिनियर किंवा थर्ड पार्टी इंजिनियर असतो. प्लीज रिमेंबर. ओके. साईट वरती काम करणारे तुम्ही एकटेच असता. तुम्हाला हे सगळे प्लॅन जे तुम्हाला स्टील डिझाईन दिलेलं आहे किंवा कॉन्क्रीट मिक्स डिझाईन दिलेलं आहे किंवा एखादा कॉन्क्रीट ग्रेडचा एखादा किंवा इतर कुठला पार्ट दिलेला आहे, एक्झिक्युशन डील्स विथ ओनली अँड ओनली यू. प्लीज रिमेंबर. एक्झिक्युशनचं काम हे फक्त तुम्ही आणि तुम्हीच करणार आहात. तुमच्यासोबत तुमचा प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजर किंवा तुमचा सिनियर इंजिनियर असेल. पण ते एक्झिक्यूट करताना जर ते स्टील डिझाईन जे तुम्ही स्टील टाकलेलं आहे किंवा नाही, किती स्टील टाकलेलं आहे, कुठल्या स्लॅबला, कुठल्या बीमला, कुठल्या स्ट्रक्चरला आहे, हे चेक करण्यासाठी थर्ड पार्टी इंजिनियर असतो, ज्याला तुम्ही आरसीसी कन्सल्टंट असं म्हणता. ठीक आहे. हा चेक करतो, हा काय चेक करतो की बाबा हा स्टील डिझाईन आलेलं आहे, ह्या व्यक्तीने ते स्टील डिझाईन दिलेलं आहे आणि ह्या प्रोजेक्टमध्ये हे स्टील डिझाईन ही लोक वापरतायत. मग हे स्टील डिझाईन ते अॅक्युरेटली वापरतायत का, अॅक्युरेटली एक्झिक्यूट करतायत का, तर ते चेक करतो. शिवाय त्या स्टील डिझाईन मध्ये जर त्याला वाटलं काहीतरी थोडंसं चेंज व्हायला पाहिजे, ठीक आहे, एखादा मायनर चेंज असेल तर तो मायनर चेंज सुद्धा सजेस्ट करून इम्प्लिमेंट करू शकतो. ओके. आणि ऑडिट, तुम्ही कन्स्ट्रक्शन साईट वरती काम करत असताना तुमच्या सोबत तुमच्याकडे काम असतं एक्झिक्युशनचं, तुमच्याकडे प्लॅन दिलेला असतो, तुमच्याकडे मिक्स डिझाईन असतं, तुम्हाला एक्झिक्युशनचं काम असतं आणि तुम्ही जे काही एक्झिक्यूट करताय ते प्रॉपरली करताय का नाही हा कंट्रोल ठेवण्यासाठी प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजर एक असतो आणि तुमचा जे क्लायंट इंजिनियर असतात हे क्लायंट इंजिनियर असतात. साईटवरती मी परत एकदा सांगतोय, तुम्ही फक्त एकटेच डील करत नाही किंवा तुमच्यावरती कंट्रोलिंग ऑथॉरिटी फक्त तुमच्या कंपनीतल्याच सिनियर इंजिनियरची नसते. तुमच्यावरती कंट्रोलिंग कोणाची असते, तर अजून दोन व्यक्ती त्याच्यामध्ये प्रामुख्याने असतात. एक असतो पीएमसी, ज्याला प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजमेंट कन्सल्टंट असं म्हटलं जातं. जनरली आपण गव्हर्नमेंट किंवा मोठ्या जे प्रायव्हेट प्रोजेक्ट असतात त्याच्यामध्ये पीएमसी असतो. ठीक आहे, प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजमेंट कन्सल्टंट. आणि दुसरा असतो क्लायंट इंजिनियर. ओके. ठीक आहे. आता एक्झाम्पल परत मी एक छानपैकी एक्झाम्पल सांगतो की जे मी आता इथं प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजना आहे संतपेठमध्ये सध्या जे काम चाललेलं होतं तिथे मी इंजिनियर म्हणून होतो 1 मंथ ट्रेनिंगसाठी. ठीक आहे. आता ते काम आहे गुजरातच्या कंपनीचं, काम आहे गुजरातच्या कंपनीचं. मग तिथला इंजिनियर काय करतोय, जे काही डिझाईन त्यांना मिळालेले आहेत ते डिझाईन ते एक्झिक्यूट करतायत त्यानुसार. पण हे काम पंढरपूर नगर परिषदेचं काम आहे, हे गव्हर्नमेंट स्कीम आहे. तर पंढरपूर नगर परिषदेमार्फत एक प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजमेंट कन्सल्टंट त्यांनी अपॉइंट केला त्या प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजनेच्या प्रोजेक्टसाठी. आणि त्याच लोकांनी म्हणजे हे जे काम चाललेलं आहे प्रधानमंत्री आवास योजनेचं, तर त्याच्यासाठी तिसरा एक आरसीसी कन्सल्टंट आहे. हा आरसीसी कन्सल्टंट स्टील डिझाईन आणि इतर तुमचं एक्झिक्युशन जो आरसीसी रिलेटेड पार्ट आहे तो पार्ट थोरोली चेक करतोय. तुमचा कन्सल्टंट जो प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजमेंट कन्सल्टंट आहे हा तुमची प्रत्येक ऍक्टिव्हिटी थोरोली चेक करतोय. ठीक आहे. मी काय बोलतोय ते ऐका. प्रत्येक ऍक्टिव्हिटी हा थरोली चेक करतोय. तुम्ही काय करत आहात, ते डिझाईन नुसार करत आहात का, किती मटेरियल वापरताय, खरंच काम व्यवस्थित चाललेलं आहे किंवा नाही. म्हणजे थोडक्यात तो एक कंट्रोलिंग मॉनिटर आहे, मेन ऑथॉरिटी आहे तिथे, अलॉंग विथ युअर प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजर. तुमचा कन्सल्टंट हा तुमच्या प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजरला सुद्धा बोलतो जर तो चुकीचं काम करत असेल किंवा चुकीचं काम होत असेल तर. ठीक आहे. तर त्यामुळे फक्त तुमची जबाबदारी असते दिलेल्या प्लॅन नुसार एक्झिक्युशन करणे, दिलेल्या स्टील डिझाईन नुसार एक्झिक्युशन करणे, कॉन्क्रिटिंग जे काय आलेलं आहे किंवा तुम्ही जे मिक्स डिझाईन तयार केलेलं आहे त्यानुसार. मिक्स डिझाईन शक्यतो कोण बाहेर देत नाही. बरेचसे काही काही मोठ्या प्रोजेक्ट मध्ये देतात ते बाहेर करण्यासाठी, कारण टेस्टिंग वगैरे करावं लागतं त्याचं सुद्धा. ठीक आहे. पण स्टील डिझाईनचा जो पार्ट आहे हा स्टील डिझाईनचा पार्ट करू शकता तुम्ही, काय प्रॉब्लेम नाहीये. आता हे पण सांगतो मी तुम्हाला, आपल्या परत एकदा सांगतोय, आपली आताच जे लेक्चर आहे 1 मिनिटामध्ये संपेल. परत रिजॉईन व्हा याच लिंकनी, युझिंग सेम लिंक यू कॅन रिजॉईन. हा, मी जे सांगतोय महत्वाची गोष्ट, प्रत्येक लोक किंवा प्रत्येक कॉन्ट्रॅक्टर हा बाहेर स्टील डिझायनर कडे जातोच असं काही नाही. आता जर तुम्ही मोठमोठ्या कंपन्या जर बघताल, स्वतः त्यांच्या कंपनीमध्ये सगळ्या गोष्टी त्यांच्याच कंपनीमध्ये होतात. फक्त त्याला क्रॉस चेक करायला बाहेरचा क्लायंट इंजिनियर किंवा कन्सल्टंट असतो, ज्याला प्रोजेक्ट किंवा तुमचा पीएमसी ऑफिसर असतो, प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजमेंट कन्सल्टंट ऑफिसर असतो. ठीक आहे. म्हणून साईट वरती तुमच्याकडे क्लायंट इंजिनियर असतो, तुमच्याकडे प्रोजेक्ट मॅनेजमेंट कन्सल्टंट असतो, तुमच्याकडे आरसीसी कन्सल्टंट असतो, की जो तुमच्यावरती मॉनिटरिंग ठेवणारा असतो. ठीक आहे. त्यामुळं काम त्या परफेक्शन नुसार झालं पाहिजे, कारण तुमच्यावरती चेकिंग साठी ही ऑथॉरिटी असते. ओके. आय होप नाउ इट इज आय हॅव गिवन satisfied answer for that. Uh, Still, if you are having query, you can ask me. We are having less than 1 minute to conclude this particular session. You can put it in the chat box. Yes, clear. Okay. Thank you, Kapil. असे प्रश्न विचारा, खूप छान प्रश्न विचारलाय, मला आवडलाय. प्रश्न विचारत चला.